Happy Sabbath. This is Pastor Wentland Paul bringing you another voice note. We affirm faith and we celebrate critical Christian thinking. This morning's topic, Decoding Prophetic Time. The year-day principle explained. Decoding Prophetic Time. The year-day principle explained. Today we dive into exploring a fascinating interpretive tool used in biblical prophecy, the year-day principle. If you ever read Daniel or Revelation and wondered what those strange time periods mean, like 1260 days or 70 weeks, this episode is for you. We will unpack this principle, explore its biblical basis, and see how it helps unlock some of the Bible's most mysterious texts. Let's begin with a simple question. Why does time matter in prophecy? Prophetic timelines give structure to apocalyptic visions. They are not just placeholders, they guide us through the unfolding of God's redemptive work in history. Time in prophecy isn't just about clocks or calendars, it's symbolic, purposeful, and deeply theological. Take a moment to reflect on this line from Daniel 8:17. Understand, Son of Man, that the vision refers to the time of the end, unquote. Right there, we can get a clue. This prophecy reaches beyond Daniel's lifetime. It stretches through time and invites us to understand God's long-term perspective. What is the year-day principle? The year-day principle is the idea that in symbolic prophecy, one prophetic day equals one literal year. This isn't applied across all scriptures, just in symbolic apocalyptic contexts like Daniel and Revelation. The historicist school of thought. Historicist school of thought are students of the Bible who interpret the Bible apocalyptic prophecy as stretching and manifesting itself throughout the period of the duration of history. Historicist interpreters rely on this principle to interpret long periods spanning centuries rather than short literal days. This contrasts with preterists, past only, and futurists, end time only views, which often doesn't accommodate the full historical reach of prophecy. Let's look at the symbolic context of apocalyptic prophecy. Apocalyptic prophecies or visions are filled with symbols, beasts, horns, and heavenly beings. It makes sense that time in these visions is also symbolic. Would God use a beast to represent a kingdom, but days to mean just days? Impossible. Let's look at unusual time expression. Daniel 8:14 says, and I quote, unto 2,300 evenings and mornings, unquote. That's not normal language for literal time in the Bible. It is symbolic. I repeat for emphasis, that's not normal language for literal time in the Bible. It is symbolic. Biblical precedent. Numbers 14 verse 34. For every day you explore the land, you will bear your guilt a year for each day, unquote. Ezekiel 4:6. I have appointed thee each day for a year, unquote. These passages show that God already uses the day for a year principle in symbolic acts. Theological time. God's judgments unfold with purpose. Prophecies often cover long periods of trial and restoration. Literal days can't do justice to those epochs. Let's look at a few case studies when the principle comes alive. Daniel 9:24-27. These 70 weeks, 490 symbolic days, translate to 490 literal years. It has to be. This timeline fits from the Persian decree to rebuild Jerusalem, which is around 457 BC, to the time of Christ's crucifixion. That's powerful. These 70 weeks can only reach Christ's crucifixion historically. Daniel 7:25 and 12:7, which entails 3.5 times, which essentially is 1,260 days. Time times and half a time is equal to 3.5 years, 1,260 days. With the yearly principle, this spans 1,260 years, a period that aligns closely with the historical dominance of the people Rome, which starts from AD 538 to 1798, when the Pope was taken prisoner by General Bulfia. Revelation 12:6 and 13:5 also talks about 1,260 days, 42 months. All of these numbers echo Daniel and point to the same time frame, reinforcing the idea that this is a symbolic timeline. The historicist insight. The historicist method interprets prophecy as unfolding over time, matching events like the fall of Rome, the Reformation, and the rise of modern religious movements. This gives the Bible a living relevance. Prophecy isn't to lock in the past or in the distant future. It has been moving through history and shaping it. That's why historicists find the Yedi principle essential. It fits the prophetic story into the flow of actual history. This is exemplified by Daniel 2, which spans centuries of different empires. Let's now address the critics and the criticisms. Critics from preterist and futurist schools often object to this symbolic approach. Some say the 2,300 days of Daniel 8:14 must point to Antiochus IV, or Antiochus Epiphanes, who desecrated the temple. But William Shea, one of our outstanding scholars, argues that this interpretation is too limited. It doesn't fit the time of the end language of the broader narrative of restoration. This essentially compels us to see the flow of history throughout time to the time of the end. Literal interpretations often compress major events into narrow time frames. Yet the principle allows prophecy to span empires, centuries, and centuries, if given it proper historical weight. Let's look at a reflection on that which has been said in the presentation. So, what does this mean for us today? The principle reminds us that God is not just working in moments, but in movements in time. His purposes unfold through the centuries. It invites us to trust His timing, even when we cannot see the end. Prophet's time or prophetic time isn't just about dates, it's about hope. Prophetic time isn't just about dates, it's about hope. It shows that God has a plan, that history is not random, and that Christ remains central in every chapter of the story. Again, let me say thank you for joining us today. If this sparked your interest, check out William Shea's book on selected studies of prophetic interpretation. We are grateful that you were with us. Now, what I want you to do is to share this episode. Would you like essentially to continue living with hope as we look at the time frame and timelines of the Bible? I want to say to you, let's watch and pray and look for the waymarks, because soon and very soon, the end will come. I thank you very much. This is Pastor Wendell Paul signing off on Special Voice Notes.